is the first shape. This is the only shape we've talked about so far. Next week, we're going to talk about obviously more. So we're going to add some stuff to this picture tomorrow or on Monday. I'll pass out the colored pencils. We'll add some color to it. So for parallelograms, opposite sides are parallel. So what we're going to do for our picture is we're going to add this to our picture because a lot of you don't realize that there's a symbol for parallel on a picture. So these two sides are parallel. So I'm going to put a little arrow and a little arrow. If you ever see the little arrows, they are not the lines, meaning they're congruent. That means two lines run parallel. So these two sides run parallel to each other, and then the top and the bottom also run parallel. They are going to have two little arrows because they are not going the same direction as the other sides. So you have these lines that are parallel going up, and then you have these going to the side. So that represents that they are running parallel. They never cross paths. The other thing that we can put on our picture is opposite sides are congruent, but that's like super basic. So we're not going to put that. Like if the top matches the bottom, the side matches the side, just like we moved around the numbers yesterday. Opposite angles are congruent. We are going to add that. So in this corner, the acute corner, I'm going to put one angle mark. That is going to be matching with the top right. So put one angle mark. And then the other two that are left over are not the same as the smaller ones. So they're going to have two angle marks. So 1, 2. Just because that represents that they are not the same measure, they are a different amount. And then the last thing that we're going to add is the consecutive, oh, not the last thing, my bad. Consecutive angles are supplementary. So we're going to label each vertice. So I'm going to call this A, B, C, and D. I'm just working around just randomly. Can anybody tell me a pair of angles that add to make 180? A and B. So A and B are consecutive. They're next to each other. Those would add to make 180. A and D would add to make 180. D and C would add to make 180. B and C would add to make 180. So if you're working your way around, anything that's next to it would add to make 180. So right here, we're going to say angle A plus, that's a plus sign, angle B equals 180, just to have like a little example. So supplementary means 180. And then the last thing that we're going to add is diagonals bisect each other. So these diagonals are not congruent to each other. The short piece matches the short piece. So we're going to put one tick mark and one tick mark. The long diagonal also splits in half. So we're going to put two tick marks because they are not the same amount. They are different lengths. Obviously going from the longer corner to the longer corner, like that one's longer than the shorter distance because like they're not the same. Okay, so we are finishing parallelograms today. Let's go to the back. So all on the back side is basically, and online when you submit the back side of this online, it says 7.2 part 2 parallelograms on a coordinate plane, just so you know, because we're talking about coordinate points.
Wait, so B and C will be 182?
Yeah, so B and C would be 180 as well. Yeah. So all we're doing with this is we're given coordinate points. So if you imagine this, you don't have to draw this, but I basically have a shape, some sort of shape. And I'm just going to label it W, X, Y, Z. You don't have to draw that, but that's like, I need to see if this is a parallelogram. If it is a parallelogram, the top should match the bottom and the side should match the side. So we have to calculate the distance of each side. For the notes ones, we're going to write out the step, but whenever you're doing them by yourself, you don't have to write it out. You can just type it into the calculator. So if I have W, X, Y, and Z, I'm going to use the first two coordinates and we're going to use the distance formula. So I just came around and I passed out the, where's my formula sheet? Oh, here it is. Remember your distance formula is given. You do not have to remember this. So it's right here on your formula sheet. We're just plugging this into Desmos and getting a number. So we're going to use this formula right here, distance. And we're going to use the first two coordinates to find the first side. So, and I'm going to write it out on my paper, but you, when you're doing this yourself, you don't have to write it out. So if the formula says, and I'll put the formula at the top too, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so what's x2? 1, and we're minusing what? -7. Remember, if you understand conceptually that a negative and a negative make a positive, you could put plus. Plus, and then we have y2 minus y1, so what two numbers have to go there? -6 minus -4 squared. And then we just type it into Desmos. We get this freaking.
Is that for everything?
Yep,
Like for every side?
literally every side. But you don't have to do it every single side because
They're gonna be close, no?
they have to match. So like once you realize that they don't match, because you don't have to do all four sides, once you realize three of sides are all different, then it's not a parallelogram because the two should be the same.
You're right, Metallic.
So like if you have a little bit of common sense, you can cheat the system. But some of y'all just mindlessly do things without thinking, which is also fine, but like you just are making more work for yourself. So don't forget you have to put the square root in the calculator because that should be all over. So when you type it in, did everybody get this decimal, which is
Yeah.
8.24, I think. Is that what it says? 8.24? Okay, so we need to see if the next side, so what two numbers am I going to use next? Or what two letters should I use? I'm doing another side. You want to use EY? Sure, let's use EY. No. I'm going to do YZ. This is actually the smart way to do it. I'll tell you why in a second. So if I'm using Y and Z, what should be in the first set of brackets?
5 and 1.
5 and 1, so 1 minus 5. And then what should go over here? Negative 12 minus negative 13. Let's type that into the calculator.
Oh yeah.
1 minus. Negative 12 minus negative 13. Okay, what do we get? 4.12. So if you think about this, okay, we just did WX. WX is this side, which is the top, which is 8.24. If we do YZ, which is the bottom, it's supposed to be the same. So that means automatically we can stop because it's not a parallelogram. Because if these matched, then I would have to check these two sides to make sure they match. But because these don't match, you can stop. If you have common sense, you can stop because they should match. These don't match. So you say, no, not a parallelogram. Not a parallelogram. So if they do match, then you would have to do the next two sides. So watch, we'll show you on the next one. The next one, this one's not a parallelogram. The next one will be a parallelogram. I'm telling you that now, but I'll show you what it looks like. We're going to have the top and the bottom that match, and then we're going to have to find the last two sides to make sure they also match. So as soon as you realize your top and bottom or your side and your side do not match, then you're done. But you need to, like, I think the little picture helps you because if you did this side and this side, those wouldn't match. You would have to do the top and the bottom to make sure. And the way you list the coordinate points is you just literally go around. So if I draw a little parallelogram, just like kind of draw a picture off to the side. Doesn't matter which corner starts first, but if I put E in this top right corner, then I'm just working in a circle around my shape. So I can either put F at here or I could put F here, but I like to go around in like a circle. So I'm gonna put F here, G here, and H here. So that way it leads around. You don't want to jump around your shape. Okay. So what two numbers do you want to use first? The second one? Let's just start with the first two,
Yep.
E and F. Keep it simple. Let's not confuse ourselves. So EF represents the top. So what two numbers am I minusing in that first set of parentheses? Ooh, crap. 6 minus what?
0.
Minus 0. Good. Because it's your X. So 6 minus 0. And then for my Y's, I'm doing 10 minus 8. So let's type that in. They should not all be equal to each other because that would be a square. It has to be a parallelogram. Two sides have to match and two sides have to match. So this one is, I can't,
Wait.
it doesn't matter. You could do always the top and the bottom. You have like, what does it say? 6.32. Yeah. Thank you. I just can't see on my computer. So this top is 6.32. It doesn't matter which combination of letters you want to use next, but if I did the top, what should I do next? The bottom. So which two letters am I using next? H and G. So I'm going to use these two. Yeah. Did you get a different question?
It
It is 6 minus 0 because it's x2. X2 minus x1. Which focus on your minus Okay, so what two numbers need to go in the first set? Thank you. -4 minus 2. And then your y's, you're doing y2, which is -2, and you're minusing y1, which is 0. So once you have your format in your calculator, make sure you're not clearing out your calculator, you're just changing the numbers. Hold on, -2 minus 0.
Okay.
Look at your little picture, which, so this one, notice that these ones are the same, exactly the same, 6.32. So this is a good sign. So far we're on the right track. If I did the top and the bottom, that's why it's like nice if you have this little picture that you just kind of sketch out. The top and the bottom do match. So far, so good. Now we need to make sure that the last two sides match. So what two letters do I need to use?
E,
What?
H, and then G.
Yes. So let's do E and H. So E is the first and the last. So EH, just focus on these two. You're doing x2 minus x1. So -4 minus 0. And then -2 minus 8. So this one gets 10.77. So this is 10.77. So when we check the last side, if it matches 10.77, then it is a parallelogram. So what two letters do I have to use for the last one? F to G or G to F. It doesn't matter which direction you go. So the last two I'm using is F to G. So I'm using the middle two. And when you're doing this, you do not need to write out every, like the work, honestly. You don't have to show this step. You don't have to write it on your paper if you don't want to. You can literally just type it into the calculator and put the decimals on your paper. So we're doing 2 minus 6, 0 minus 10. Who's working right now?
Ian.
Ian Timberlake.
Yeah.
Tell him I say, hey. He thinks I hate him, actually.
Why?
Because I used to kick him out of my classroom. Because he used to distract. I had him in a really, really smart class. And he used to distract this kid that wasn't so smart. And so then I I was in a portable at the time. And I would have him go sit on the porch if they were being bad. That was whenever I taught middle school. Because, middle schoolers are annoying.
Oh, so you had it for middle school?
Yeah. But I taught him geometry in middle school.
And now he's committed to D2.
Now he's like, now he's an old man. Yes. Okay, so 2 minus 6 and 0 minus 10 get you 10.77 because I told you this one was going to be a parallelogram.
6.7.
But notice you get the same decimal. Yes. Anyways,
Hold on right there, quickly.
okay. So because you have two sides that match and two sides that match, okay, it's a parallelogram. You have two problems on this piece of paper. You do not need to show the work. If you just want to draw this cute little picture and then put your little decimals on it, I don't care. Okay. As long as you have the decimals, or if you want to just put like the first two letters and then put the decimal, like whatever letters you want to use. But you need your decimals. And then the whole point is to say if it's parallelogram or not. So you have two problems like this. You can type it into the calculator, get done with it. And then you're just working on your little classwork paper and you'll turn in your classwork paper, which is all just on yesterday's stuff. So do the Desmos one first, because that's the annoying one that you have to use the calculator on the computer for.
Oh, this one's easy, no?
Yeah, and then that one's easy. But this paper gets turned in online, classwork gets turned into the bin. But if you want to keep the classwork till Monday, you can, but you should be able to finish both by class. Let me know if you get stuck or if you get something weird. If you weren't here yesterday, I can help you with the parallelograms. Perfect. Finish this one first.